with bills, loans, EMIs, investment mandates, and topping it all, savings to set aside, it seems impossible to attain freedom financially from the chains and shackles of our financial obligations, doesn't it? But by committing to your financial planning wholeheartedly, you can actually turn your dream of financial independence into reality. Let's break down and decode the concept of financial freedom with the help of an expert, Raj Khosla, founder and MD, My Money Mantra. What is the math behind attaining financial freedom? What are the buckets that you divide your finances into, and how do you allocate?
Well, Shambhavi, first up, there's no one size fits all. So different people are going to have different objectives and different risk appetites. But yeah, but there is an underlying fundamental which is actually honestly the same for a country, for a company, or for that matter, for an individual. How do you attain financial freedom? I mean, is the country self-dependent, and so same for a company, and then same for an individual. So it's if I try and keep it simple, which is sort of an average size, which should fit everybody. It is like when your savings and investments are sufficient to meet your current rate of expenses for the next 25 years, you can probably say that you're financially free. Again, like I said earlier, the disclaimer was it's going to mean different things to different people. But one important item that is common to all is, of course, that there is inflation. Whenever you're planning, you also need to invest your savings and grow the corpus according to your short, medium, and long-term financial goals, and obviously protect the capital at the same time, as in guard against inflation and inflationary pressures. Will keep changing. You have to refocus your strategy every time there's a change in the environment. But honestly, in the Indian context, you are financially free only when you have a retirement corpus, and that is after provided for your children's education and also their marriage goals. And that's financial, freedom, if you like. You said, how you would allocate your savings and investments. Essentially, again, you can go back to the country or a company or to personal finance, which is me and you, and the rest of our friends, which is that, you have to divide your savings into two parts: early stage investments and long-term investments, which will obviously include retirement planning. The early stage, you say, what is that? That should be, possibly 60 to 70% of investments, that you intend to make should be for short, medium-term goals, such as possibly, a car, a home, which is the stuff that you live and you aspire for, vacations, possibly, primary education of kids, and in today's time and age, better not forget life cover and health insurance or self-independence, most important. And obviously, current expenses, dal, roti, what you need to live. On the long-term side, which should be, say, 25 to 30%, should be aligned for retirement and for kids' higher education and marriage, which is a typical Indian one. So that's what you should do. And when you choose funds for that, since this is a long-term investment plan, invest more into equity-oriented funds. Suggested options could be mutual fund investments through the SIP route, ULIPs, direct equity, depending on your risk appetite. But don't forget about the PPF with a horizon of 15 years plus and generate fixed, guaranteed, tax-free returns. Very important. So all in all, your asset allocation is based on your income, risk, and return appetite, short, medium, long-term goals, and also your current cash flow requirements. To keep all of this in mind, keep your fingers crossed, pray hard, and I'm sure you get it right.
Many people now aspire to retire early. So, how does one prepone attainment of financial independence? How do you get to it early?
Okay, first of all, it's a dream objective. It's not some people, or it's not many people, aspire to retire early. I think at the back of our minds, everyone wants to retire early. It's only, how quickly you can get there. Retiring early really means, you accumulated a desired corpus before 60. If we take that as the official retirement age, and you're ready to take care of your monthly expenses post-retirement. Now that's nirvana, if you like. I'm sure that's the nirvana people hope they get there at 40. Some people trying, despite best efforts, haven't gotten there even when they're 70. Yeah, but to prepone retirement and attain financial freedom, you ought to begin your financial planning early in life. That's critical, because then compounding comes in, and you can save and invest more and tap the power of of new things that might come up, and you keep your eyes and ears open. If you say how you plan, that is actually dependent on each individual. But some tips which are common to all is you must always take professional advice. Don't think I know everything. So that's one really good tip. You have to stay consistent with your approach. You will make slight adjustments to your direction depending upon how the winds have changed and how the landscape is changing. But then that is almost, it doesn't happen every day. So you have to stay consistent. Don't get hooked onto cyclical variations which are daily or monthly. You have to stay with your own approach. Like hike your SIPs as your income grows. Rebalance every 2 years or after each market correction. Reduce risk 2 years prior to you're planning to reach your goal. Cut down your risk appetite. But amidst all this, I might add that you have to stay so alive, because you should not get stuck on a plan that okay, I'm planning this and this is what I'm doing. Always keep your eyes and ears open. There'll be opportunities which are not there in your plan. You have to be so alive to it and grab that opportunity when it comes. And unless you think outside of your plan or you're alive to the things that are happening around you, you could possibly miss that bus and say that, no, I'm sticking to my plan. Sure, stick to your plan. I just said that you have to stay consistent with your approach, but eyes and ears open all the time.
With obligations such as investments, loans, bills, how does one ensure that they're saving enough?
I always, I love putting the cart before the horse. So this is that sort of question. It depends on how much you're earning. Your saving is really a function of what your income is. So you have to balance your income and outflow, and then only you can say, am I saving enough or not? Basically, you need to match, and after having determined that, you need to match your savings and investments with goals, income, and most importantly, your risk appetite. And how do you see? What's your view on life? What are your obligations? If there aren't any, if you haven't gotten anything fixed, you're going to likely to have a sort of your risk appetite is likely to be much more than if you had aging parents, an extended family to take care of, and so on. But in the initial stage of your investment, your EMIs and daily expenses will be higher than the investment. Just a general one, will be higher than investment contribution. This happens because you have so many expenses, like we discussed before: a car, home, your kids' family education, family, and so on. But as your income grows with time, you should gradually increase the investments and savings. At that time, there's always this urge that I'm making more money here. Why don't I splurge a little more, etc. Just get away from that, because if there's more inflow, increase the amount of saving more. Not in the same proportion, but disproportionately increase your savings. And generally, in a rule of thumb, add 10% to your SIPs annually, and should be helpful in beating inflation and meeting your goals. And also, to make the most of the portfolio, you should, like I said earlier, use professional advice. You don't know everything about everything. Employ multiple investment options. Save tax at the same time. Most important. The Indian Income Tax Act provides deductions for various investments, savings, and expenditure incurred by the taxpayer in a financial year. So do make sure you utilize all available benefits, whether they are under Section 80C, 80D, Section 24, and so on. Essentially, again, being rich is having money. Being wealthy is having time. But being financially free is having a plan so you could enjoy both time and money. So with that, I suppose, we could wish everyone a very happy Independence Day.
With that, we come to the end of this video. Confused about where you stand vis-a-vis financial freedom? Take this quiz designed to test how close you are to financial freedom. Hopefully, your score will set you free from financial worries. If not, you always have our articles and videos to turn to. Here's wishing you financial independence and good health. Stay tuned and stay safe.